Alright guys, so we are looking at our space worksheet. It says elements of art and then space at the top. You either got this as a paper pack or you can find it in Google Classroom. And we're looking at the front page right now. The first page says, in art, space is defined by the artist and includes the background, foreground, and middle ground. There are two types of space, positive and negative. The object makes up the positive space, so the chicken makes up the positive space here. The space around the object makes up the negative space, so all this space back here is called the negative space. And we kind of looked at this before when we did our face-based drawings. We looked at positive and negative space before, so that should be a little bit of review. Down here next it says perspective is a drawing technique that uses lines to create the illusion of space. One-point perspective has a horizon line and one vanishing point. We connect the corners using the vanishing point and a ruler, and we draw lines parallel, so lines that echo the object's outer edge inside the lines, so inside your guidelines that connect to the vanishing point. Perspective creates an illusion of depth. Multiple vanishing points can be used to create more complicated illusions of space, and that's something we're working on a couple weeks from now. We're just working on one-point perspective this week and creating space. Let's go back up to this section here. Over here, it talks about, it says, artists often try to create an illusion of space. And there's 5 main ways we can do that. We're looking at this image, and then scrolling down here, here's our 5 ways. Our first way is overlapping. Overlapping happens when objects that are closer block objects that are farther away. So this tree that's closest to us overlaps the hill that it's on. It overlaps hills in the background. It overlaps the mountains away in the background. It overlaps these clouds. We can tell that this land here, this first hill, is in the foreground, is in the front, because it overlaps these hills behind in the middle ground, and it overlaps these mountains way in the background. Number 2 says placement. Objects higher in the image appear farther away. So we could use the same example here of these hills. This hill that's in the front is closer to us because it's at the bottom of the page. And as we move up the page to the middle ground and then to the background, we're moving farther up the page as we're going back in space. So that's placement. Number 3 says size. Objects that are smaller appear farther away. So we can look at these hills one more time. My hill here in the front is largest. It's larger than my multiple hills here in the middle ground. And these middle ground hills are larger than these mountains in the background. Even though we know mountains are bigger than hills, they appear smaller because they're farther away. Number 4 says detail. Objects that are farther away have less detail. Our ground is a great example of that again. We have lots of detail in the foreground, a little bit of detail in the middle, and pretty much no detail in the back. And number 5 says color and value. Objects that are farther away appear to be cooler in color and lighter. I know this is a black and white image right now, but we can see kind of that same idea where our ground up here in the very front is darker. Our ground in the middle is kind of medium shade, and our ground in the background is the lightest. Okay, so those are 5 different ways that you can show space, and you're going to use those on the next page here. Our second page of our worksheet says, complete the worksheet. Reference the front if you need help. And then This first section says, add your own vanishing point to the line and use perspective to make the letters look 3D. So this is going to be a really similar practice to what you do in prompt B for your 1-point perspective practice, but this already gives you the block letters. Create a picture that shows the illusion of space. Use 5 different methods to create space. So they're talking about those 5 different methods that we looked at on the front page. Over here it says identify the positive and negative space. So that's just looking at this picture here and telling me what is the positive and what is the negative. And down at the very bottom here, it says use 1-point perspective to add details to the city and more buildings on the right side of the street. So you can give this a try this week. This will be our focus next week, is how to draw these 1-point perspective cities. But you can use your space worksheet this week to kind of practice it. All right, if you guys have questions, let me know. I will make a video probably on how to do this. Otherwise, good luck.